This is really cool that we're doing this on a computer. Everyone's in their house. We have little hand emojis and it's crazy. Like I just bought a painting of like Bill and Bob doing step work with a guy in a bed. How all this started was just like two dudes in like asylums, and the reason for the anonymity was because there were so few people in AA and there were so many alcoholics who needed help. And now look, we have over 130 people in this room participating in each other's recovery. So I'm gonna give you my story in 5 minutes. I don't know how I'm supposed to do that, but let me try. So I hit a bottom, I went to rehab, I got out. I wanted to be a drug and alcohol counselor like we do when we first get sober. I'm gonna change the world and be a drug and alcohol counselor. So I got all my KDAC stuff while also like doing music stuff, and started performing in Hollywood every week, and got really popular on MySpace, ended up getting a record deal. So I abandoned the whole therapy KDAC thing and toured around the world and like released a couple albums. And then Martin Garrix, Skrillex, and Avicii came out, and they started making amazing electronic music on their laptop, and it kind of crushed all my hopes and dreams of what I could become if an 18-year-old could make better music than me in their room. It just became exhausting, and we started to become less and less relevant, and I started to lose what I thought defined who I was. I put success and music before my God. I put it before my recovery. And when I lost it, I was like a shell of a human being with 5 years sober. And then I watched my best friend Dane slowly die of cancer, and that taught me what was really important. And it's not success and money. And I asked the girl who I was with to marry me because she was right there in front of me the whole time, but I never really could see her because I was so distracted with money, success, and music.
Being with Pat when he was in Hyper Crush, he was newly sober then, so let's just say all the practices hadn't kicked in yet. So he was a lunatic. Like, he's a lunatic now, but he was an untreated lunatic back then. So my best friend went on tour with them, the Lady Gaga tour, and she said that he would like push people out of the way. Like, that was the height of his, I guess, like sober alcoholism, you know what I mean? Just treating people around him super poorly just because all he could think about was on hand, what was in front of him.
We got married, he died, and I just started doing what I love, which is like making videos. And then I created this like production company, Ridge Production, which is just my last name. And I started making videos for my friends and for, you know, my friends getting married. I started doing wedding videos and music videos, and like all this I did in sobriety. And one thing I've learned is that like the more I get, the more I'm afraid to lose. And like this whole Janis Joplin lyric I love, it's freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose. So like the more I get, the more afraid I am I'm gonna lose. And I don't know, this whole idea of like losing and like growing and learning, and I came up with this brand called Learning to Lose, and that's kind of like my mission statement in life, and it's how I apply this message to all people in recovery, because I think that what we do in AA can be applied to all human beings, sober or not. And that's what like Learning to Lose is. So yeah, and then the production company went on for a little while, and then I'm like, oh, let me open a sober living. And I don't know, it's just crazy what you can do when you get sober. Anything's possible. It's really wild. I'm so grateful. So now here I'm sitting in this house with like 15 residents, and these guys are like amazing guys and girls. Like, I'm learning and growing so much from them, and they're all staying sober, and it's just incredible. So this is like my thing that I'm doing right now, and it's really taking a lot of my time and energy, but I really wouldn't have it any other way. So yeah, I hope you guys followed all that. I spoke kind of fast, but yeah, look, it's like one alcoholic helping another. So like a lot of the stuff I do is I'm transparent about it online, and there's a lot of people talking about like, you know, online you get a lot of like, people want to judge a lot of things, you know, and, you know, you don't have a license, where's your license, where are the doctors and the therapists and stuff. And it just reminds me of like everyone in this room, you know, we're here. This is all built on a foundation of one alcoholic working with another. I learned that like shared pain is cathartic through AA, people sharing about their flaws and their weaknesses and being vulnerable. So I've just been doing that more and more online just because like, why not, you know? And the result that I've been getting has been like overwhelming, and it just feels like people are kind of tired of just, you know, comparing themselves to everyone else. Like we compare our insides to everyone else's outsides. And on Instagram, your outsides always look better than what they really are. You know, like here I am on vacation in a beautiful sunset with in front of a car, a Lamborghini or whatever that I rented, and it's like all fake. And so yeah, I'm just really trying to like, you know, promote like honesty and like transparency and vulnerability. And I learned all that through AA and through the 12 steps, you know. A lot of the stuff that we're taught in the real world or like in the normal world, like not in the recovery world, is all based on power, greed, selfishness, you know, push your brother down to get ahead, win, 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 fucking Charlie Sheen, you know, whatever. And I'm just like, I don't know, it's just that's not the path to joy. You know, the path to joy and peace and happiness is I think like truth and vulnerability and being honest and exposing your flaws. And like the 4-step taught me that like I want to see my part and like all my cracks, you know. I'm pretty sure it's a Leonard Cohen quote. The cracks are how the light gets in. So like the steps are how our cracks are revealed, you know. And if I don't have cracks, there's no room for me to see where I need to grow and see who I really am. So, you know, the steps taught me that like all my shortcomings and all my defects and all my flaws are things I need to look at and embrace and not be ashamed of. And that's another thing I like to talk a lot about is shame, and how shame can't really exist like in the light. If you're exposing yourself and you're being honest and vulnerable like in front of other people, you know, it's like, I think it's the secrecy thing that where the shame comes from. You know, everyone wants to keep everything a secret, you know, and it's like, I'm ashamed of all these things. And I think shame is a really big problem that I've always had. That's what 20 years of therapy taught me, was how to like see my shame and how to overcome my shame and how to see the truth in that, which is that I don't really need to be ashamed of these things. I just think that I should be. And the steps help me see that too. I think the truth is I'm just really not that important. And I think a lot of times we are embarrassed to speak in front of people, or like right now, like, you know, what you think of me is none of my business. All I'm here to do is speak truth, and I'm not so important that you guys are all gonna be thinking about me and my share for the rest of the night. Or like once I learned that like I don't really matter as much as my mind thinks I do. I'm not saying I don't matter. I'm saying that like we're the center of attention in our universe, and we live in this little mind bubble, and like our alcoholism wants us to believe that like everything is more serious than it is. And the truth is like I just want to try to be honest, and hopefully maybe somebody else can identify with that and realize that like just because they don't have it figured out, it's okay. Like I don't have it figured out either. You know, only God has it figured out. And like I just kind of had this like weird thought that like I'm just like super all over the place, and I don't know if anyone can follow like anything I'm saying. Is this making any sense? It's really wild to be like sharing about this stuff on the internet and having people message me, and then to actually have a place they can come to and be able to really help them in like a more hands-on way, because there's really only so much you can do or say on in a message app, you know? I really do miss meetings, you know? There's something about like being in a meeting, but God, this is so cool, 145 fucking people. I want to embrace technology. I want to embrace social media. I want to have optimism as it relates to the human race and where we're headed. You know, I don't want to like look at these things as like, oh, like fuck the phone. Like it takes me out of the present moment and it like prevents me from connecting from the person I'm in front of. It's like put it down for an hour and be with the person and then pick it up and connect with the world. I've been sober 15 years, so like everything I do is like AA. Everything I do has to do with recovery, and every part of my being is like these principles and this program and these steps have like made me who I am, so I kind of like relate everything back to this. And I'm always talking about how like, so, and like the internet and social media is like, I just think it's a way for us to connect to other human beings. And it's like, I feel like people demonize it and vilify it. It's like, I'm not gonna blame the car for killing the person. If you hit someone while you're driving, you blame the person driving. Like social media is like the car. It's just like the medium of how we reach one another. It's not social media's fault. It's people's fault. So I would just encourage people to share their truth online and, you know, just be more honest and vulnerable. Like, I think we can use these platforms as a way for us to like share love and humility and vulnerability with the rest of the world. I almost feel like we have an obligation as sober members of Alcoholics Anonymous to spread the message of truth without mentioning AA, of course, because we want to respect the anonymity. But I think there are so many people suffering out there. They don't know there's a way out. I didn't know there was a way out for a long time. I couldn't go a few hours without taking a couple Norcos. I didn't know it was possible. And thanks to AA and the structured sober living that I went to, I have this incredible fucking life. And on a good day where my mind and my alcoholism isn't telling me that I wish I had what you did, I'm like super happy. Right now, I'm super happy and I'm super grateful and I have a sense of peace and joy that passes like all understanding, and it's just incredible. So yeah, thanks for letting me share that with you guys, and right on.